They came in their thousands, singing, dancing, and holding high their union banners. It is the 17th National Mayday Parade at the Black Star Square, and these workers are using the opportunity to draw government and other stakeholders' attention to their grievances. And they let their placards do the talking, from workers of the Tema Oil Refinery who wanted the refinery to be preserved for future generations, to staff of the State Electricity Distributor ECG who are against the Millennium Challenge Compact, which would see private sector participation in the company. The president, in his address themed Ghana at 60, mobilizing for Ghana's future through the creation of decent jobs, assured the ECG workers in particular government had their interests at heart as far as the concession agreement is concerned, explaining new terms to govern the compact have been put forward.
In this regard, government has amended the terms of the concession agreement to require that 1. Ghanaians own at least 51% of the concession. 2. There should be no involuntary layoffs as a result of the concession. 3. The term of the concession will be reduced from 25 to 20 years. We believe that these amendments meet the aspiration of Ghanaians in protecting the jobs of workers and in assuring the control and viability of ECG.
President Akufo-Addo said his government's efforts to rid the public sector payroll of ghost workers will save the state millions of cedis.
The cost of maintaining these 26,589 names on government payroll is 36,160,103 Ghana cedis per month. This means the government stands to save the country over 433 million Ghana cedis on this year's budget alone by this exercise. Other efforts aimed at cleaning the payroll being undertaken by government include 1. A new payment system that will integrate the JIPS payment platform for salaries to be paid directly to workers without any manual intervention, as always has been the case.
He said his government would encourage the establishment of more gold refineries, which will pay fair prices to miners, and lauded the efforts of the media in the fight against Galamsey.
For small-scale mining to be conducted in a sustainable manner, all the indications are that the Galamseyers, those who undertake the hazardous and tedious work, do not make much money, as they are routinely cheated from getting a fair price for the gold they find. We are therefore encouraging the establishment of gold refineries, which will pay fair prices to the miners. I want to acknowledge with special thanks the support and role being played by the media in this fight against Galamsey. The media, with the overwhelming support of well-meaning citizens, have given true meaning to the call for all, quote, to be citizens and not spectators, unquote.
For Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yauba, the unfair conditions of a section of the workforce is still a major issue that needs to be dealt with.
We have issues like low wages, low pensions, abuse of workers' rights, occupational health and safety.
Cantonmental special.
For most of the workers at the parade grounds, though, being part of the event meant that they at least had jobs. So however meager their incomes and however poor their conditions, it was something to be grateful for. Maxwell Agbagba for Joy News.
Well, thanks for joining us for AM Talk. And on our discussion platform today, we're talking on many issues, but our guest is Fred Agbenyo. He's the Deputy Communications Director for the NDC. Thanks for joining me, Fred.
Thanks for having me.
After the holiday, you seem to be blossoming very well.
I'm not, because you abandoned me.
or have not?
You have.
I thought we were in this business together.
My only brother
Making,
for a very long time.
making sure that we provide great communication for each other. We provide the best platforms. Because you're in the NDC, I'm in the media, and we can work closely together.
I thought we were going to say you're in the... Anyway, can you proceed?
And also Fuseni Isa is a member of parliament for Okankwe North. And thanks for joining me, sir. How was the holidays?
In fact, it was busier than
usual.
You know, the typical...
Do you also have your constituents lining up each morning to see you?
I think that...
when I'm sure they're watching, so just choose your words carefully.
I think that it's something as a society we have to discuss again, and open up some of those things and get to draw the lines. I mean, and we will understand many a time we say that the job of the legislator or a parliamentarian is not a developmental or a social, but you see the role is also evolving. And maybe advocacy is the way to go, rather than payment of those. And we have to discuss that, as I say, as a society.
On another platform.
Yeah, I think we should actually draw the lines.
And I'm sure because you are off power, you don't get disturbed again. I'm sure all your good people have run away and left you.
It's not necessarily the case. You have some responsibility. You have showed that all these years. So you have to continue. You can't just drop them like that. So, look at the hazard that comes with it. But that's a joy for being in public space. It can be very stressful, really, when people come to you, personal needs, and you cannot meet them sometimes. It hurts. You know, you can see really that they are in need. The others too who just want to take advantage, just for your mobile phone, for the number of messages you receive every day, to solve one problem or the other, it's becoming a normal day-to-day activity. So it's okay.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But let's look at the issues this morning. And the president had been addressing workers, and particularly for many of the things that he was been talking about was the subject of removal of, we're told, 26,000 ghost names, which has saved apparently government coffers some 443 million Ghana cedis. And the president also said the comprehensive payroll was conducted by the Ministry of Finance within the last 2 months and purged the system of ghost names and saving this money in the process. Of course, we've had NATS, NAGRAT, etc., describing the ministry's ploy as a ploy to dismiss some public workers in the country. We know this was first said on the platform by Joy FM which was, of course, marking 100 days of the Kufuor-led government, was addressed by the Vice President as well. It's been disputed all over, but the President seemed to have repeated this in a speech yesterday. I'll start with you, of course.
Oh, all right, okay.
No, well, that's how the tennis, you know. Sometimes when you're in government, you start with you first. You have to answer.
But I'm just a member of parliament.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ask Fred. He was not a member of government.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Let me say a good morning to my constituents as usual. I mean, good morning to the people of Okankwe North. I'm right from La Paz through to Kisama. I hope the holiday was good. That's how far
your constituency stretches?
Yeah.
To Kisima?
Yeah, to Kisima.
Wow.
Yeah. So I hope.
Is that your constituency as well?
No, I'm from Hawaii North.
Okay.
He's from Hawaii.
And in Accra, you are in which constituency?
Adenta.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I hope they had a good holiday, and we're looking forward to a productive week. This issue of removal of names from the payroll audit being conducted, I think that as a country, in the last couple of years, the issue of the size of the payroll is been on the table, it's been discussed. And we needed to do something about it. As a government, when we took over from the State of the Nation addressed by the President through the budget, we still addressed the fact that there were 3 line items that were taking virtually all the revenue that government could get from local sources. So it was incumbent on us to do something, and some of the innovations that we have introduced in this country is the earmarked fund, where we're trying to put a cap on all those earmarked funds. We're trying to do something about our debt levels, and so it was also important that we did something about our payroll system. And the reality of it is that if you look at the size of the payroll, the number of people on the government payroll, relative to the registration we have on the Social Security and National Insurance Trust role. You see, there's a disconnect. So many people on the government payroll who are not registered as SSNIT, but it's a statutory requirement that anybody on government payroll should be paying SSNIT. So it is also a way to audit the number of people on the government payroll. If it didn't go to the extent that you were automatically removed, but you were given the opportunity to go back to SSNIT, and do the registration, update your data, do whatever biometric data capture that you needed to do, and you were put back on the payroll. In fact, the ministry actually released a circular last week, I mean, giving a roadmap as to even those who have not found their names on the government payroll and who were not going to be paid for the month of April, how they could do this, go back to SSNIT within 2 weeks if their data was captured and everything was okay. By mid May, they were going to have their salary. So it's a way for us to look at some of those things. We need to move away from the situation where just the 3-line items were consuming everything. It's a process. I don't think that I've heard NAGRAT speak, I've heard other associations speak. I think it's in their rights to protect their membership, make sure that they are paid for the genuine work that they have done for the states. But on the flip side, it is also the responsibility of government to ensure that the revenues that accrue to government are used in the most efficient way. So it's a process. I think people should be patient, where by the time this process goes, those who were not actually supposed to be on government payroll and have found themselves there and have actually exploited the situation will all be phased out, and then we can manage our payroll. I did read a story elsewhere that some people from the, I think, Accountant General's Department, there were a couple of people who had a scheme where they could put people's names on the payroll, pay them, those people go back to the bank, take the money, and then they share. I mean, as a country, we can't go on like this. There has to be innovative ways of auditing the payroll. We have to move on, and it's a responsibility of government to do, and that's, I think, that exactly what the government is set out to do. 26,000 so far. I expect that we are able to do further audits and cut down the unnecessary names on the payroll further for us to be able to manage our finances more efficiently.
Fred, I don't know what NAGRAT will say about this, because over the last week they've been complaining that at least half of this number, 13,000, said to be their members. In all, they're supposed to be providing certain particulars for which perhaps government needed to give them a lot more time to do all that.
Well, Roland, thank you very much, and let me say good morning to our viewers, and I say equal to Ghanaian workers. I wonder what this country would have been like minus them. They've done well over the years, in spite of the challenging environment and conditions which they work with. So we'll continue to appreciate them and aid them on that all of us must brighten our small corners in which we are to make Ghana a great nation. I salute you, Ghanaian workers. I don't know what type of ghosts are this that never dies. Because I've been hearing about these ghosts existing on our payrolls.
Since your childhood?
Since my childhood. And I've always known that when you die and they bury you, you don't resurrect again. Only Jesus Christ had resurrected. But as for these ghosts, anytime they die, after a year, they resurrect again. And they come back on the payroll. So it's becoming a worry for me. This is the first time I've heard a government saying that, okay, we are trying to remove ghost names from the payroll. A year down the line, they come back. Is it that we are not doing something right? Are they really ghosts? And on this particular occasion, in this particular instance, I've heard, like you rightly said, Nagla saying that half of the Nama is their people. They know them. They exist. So how do we describe them as ghosts? Now, what is the challenge? What is making it so difficult for them to come out and do the re-registration, whatever it is, with SSNIT? Is it that genuinely they have some challenges? Now, oftentimes when these issues come up for discussion, we limit ourselves to those who live in towns and cities. But the reality could be that somebody out there in the hinterland, is either the information has not gotten to him, or access to even the SSNIT facility to go in the registration is becoming a challenge. And I understand this has been going on for all over a year now. And so the leadership of NAGRAT, leadership of NAT, and the various associations have a responsibility to prompt their members. It is the case that they've not heard about it or they don't know about it. They need to prompt them. They need to say some circulars around. I remember, I think somewhere last year, BNI picked this up on themselves. They went around the entire country, tried to do head count of workers, especially in the Ghana education sector and the health sector. So if they have done that and they have counted all these people one by one, by now you're able to say that, okay, these are the total number of people that we have. Now, how difficult is it for a headmaster of a school to tell us the number of teachers who teaches in his school? For a circuit supervisor to tell us how many teachers teach within his circuit, and then for a district director to tell how many people works within his district. Then for a regional director to tell how many people work within his region.
Based on head count.
Head count.
Which can easily be done.
And
even
so,
in a day.
In a day.
Yeah.
Within a day. It's a matter of phone call from this category of people, and then quickly you get to know exactly.
Because circuit supervisor can easily call the heads of the various schools in his circuit.
That's right.
And say, please bring me the numbers within the next 1 hour.
Send it to me. So I have a difficulty. What you have tried to do over the years to move away from this manual things into computerized system, that is to take away some of these other deliberate, omissions or inclusions by persons who want to take advantage of the system and make some money. So if this still exists with us today, then it is really
a challenge. Is it not then, knowing that because of these sectors employing large worker groups, that we have the miscreants or those who are condoning these actions or inactions among their rank and file? And so definitely, no matter the steps that government wants to take, we'll find it difficult in fighting the system. What is Ghana's population, really? 27 million people. How many people are in the educational sector? How many people are working over there? Now we have countries with larger population than this, larger workforce, even in the educational sector. How have they been able to do it? It is not rocket science. To the extent that some people have done it and done it well, go and learn, go and get the technology and apply. Same here. For me, that is the way I see some of these things. To say that because the numbers are many, so you can't do anything about it, you have thrown your hands in despair, you are watching, the problem will continue like that. But if it is true that over 26,000 people are ghosts who don't exist, who don't work, and yet we pay the money. Now, how do they access these monies? Through which banks? Who signs the money? So they will be able to track to the rural banks and find out who collects the money on their behalf, into whose account, into whose private pocket the money goes to. Then we can prosecute all the people along the chain. Then we can curtail it. But for us to be told, okay, these are ghosts. The ghosts cannot go to the bank by themselves. A human being must go to the bank and sign the checks or withdraw the money. So how are we tracking all those things? How are we collaborating with the bank managers, the people at the Control Accountant General Department, and all that? Roland, this whole discussion comes back to one point. If we say we want to do decentralization, then we should give meaning to decentralization. Some of us, our view is that this whole system where people come out of college of education, then they are posted from national somewhere to various institutions and they to go and teach, must cease. We must make way for people to come out, let the various districts come and advertise the vacancies that they have within their districts. Every headmaster submit, maybe we need a math teacher, we need an English teacher, we need whatever teacher. They should advertise. Those who are qualified who want to go and teach should apply to these areas. The district that will call them, interview them. If they found them worthy to teach in their school, they pick them on board. So they become accountable to them. If there's a problem, you hold them responsible. You have a situation where under Ministry of Education, you go to this level. They are not even accountable to the DCE at that level. They run a payroll structure. Is the director of what do they call them? Director of Education.
Education at this level, who is in charge of education. He reports to his boss at the regional level, and then he moves up to Accra. So the assemblies are only playing a minor role really in the operation. It doesn't help anybody. So we need to sit back, look at what do we do? How do we solve these issues and stop this? I know governments upon governments. Since I was born, I've tried to do something about this. But the problem
even when the populations were smaller.
It was smaller.
And now the populations are growing.
But you see, the payroll is not a static something. It keeps changing. People are added upon. Every now and again, people die, they're taken off. So it's a rolling.
People die and
so
they're supposed to be taken off.
They are supposed to be taken. As to whether we even have a process that will actually verify some of those things. It's a continuous process. Okay. So I'm sure the issue of ghost names will be with us for a while.
But I wanted to ask you, based on your experience, and I know that you've been in banking before joining mainstream politics, how easy is it for somebody to go collect money of somebody who is non-existent, somebody else?
I wasn't in mainstream banking like that. I was in investment banking.
Okay,
but in any case, for me to go to the bank to access monies from a particular account. It means that I should have the details or something of that account. And if I have colluded with someone else, it's
At the
either the
institution
names, yeah, at the
Okay.
institution, the names will match, maybe the pictures will match, whatever it takes to, because in the case that I read in the media, somebody from the Accountant General or Controller General is colluded with somebody and saying, look, every month I'm going to put your name on the payroll.
From headquarters?
From headquarters. I'm going to put your name on the payroll. Every month I'm going to pay you this amount. You go to the bank, you assess it. And that's my portion of it. It is not rocket science. It's something that is very visible. But what we have to verify is that who actually verifies, who qualifies to get his or her name on the payroll. And what's the process like? Can it be abused? Once that process is abused and you get your name on that payroll, you probably can be on that payroll for the next 30 or so years. Right. So it's not something that is static. We'll keep hearing about this ghost until we have a perfect system. A perfect system, I don't think exists anywhere. Even probably in advanced economies, they're probably grappling with issues like ours. But I think that the government is showing a lot of commitment, and I think it's in the right direction for everybody to go to SSNIT, verify your details there, and once we reconcile the two, I am sure that those who do not qualify to earn salary at the end of the month will be dealt with in the appropriate way. And I don't think this will just end by us deleting their names. Those who are found culpable, I think, should be held responsible.
But Ronald, let me just add a bit to this. You see, I think that the biometric registration can bring a finality to this whole thing.
That is being done alongside with SSNIT.
Yes, you see, and I am worried why SSNIT is the one doing this biometric
Even for Cap 30 workers.
You understand? Because if we
But
have...
what's wrong? SSNIT is a national pension
You
body.
see, all of us are calling for one identification
system.
So we should be able to capture it within that system. You have only one ID card. These are your biodata.
If you die, you die.
You die with your biodata. Nobody can use your biodata. So if you go to a bank, even by just putting your thumbprint over there, we are able to verify that you are the person. It cannot be Roland, it cannot be you, it can only be who the real person is. So we should pay attention, we should invest in that area, and we can solve this issue within a matter of a year or two if you really are committed to solving it. Unless, of course, it is the normal thing that we do. We come and talk plenty behind the scenes. Either we are beneficiaries or we connive with those who do this. And so we are not really interested in solving the problem. Otherwise, we should be able to get to the bottom of it.
Now, what SSNIT is doing is creating a separate database.
I am worried.
Alongside.
I am worried.
Now, I think the separate database is for the Cap 30 workers, right?
Yes, for Cap. But even for the
so
teachers, they are supposed to make sure that they go through the SSNIT system.
That's it. That's
You have to go and present your particulars again for it to be synchronized with what is there
Ronald,
and verified.
I am not too sure how this registration at SSNIT is done. In my time, I registered on the SSNIT sometime in 1996, I think, when I was in the first year in Legon. And through my student loan system, I got my number, and it stayed with me since. Every time I have worked...
Well, that was when SSNIT got modern, I guess.
I mean...
so what is
1997?
What is different? The same number I see you from 1997.
What is different? When I was going to university and was going to take a SSNIT loan, that was when I got opportunity to got my name to SSNIT, and I've used the same number to date. So what is different now?
Anyway.
If it was easier for us 20 years ago, why is it too difficult for us today?
No conflict situation, the SSNIT process, because the teachers don't seem to be in agreement. They feel that, for example, NAT has a particular situation in which it says its members who reservedly have had their date of birth changed, either by affidavit, because there are instances where people have to change their date of birth either because at the time they were born, their parents couldn't give them the right date, and then they did some verification over the process of their lives, and they got to know. And now, through the processes of law, they've been able to re-enter new date of birth. It's created some disharmony in the system, and so you're just taking off the system. They feel it's a bit unfair.
I agree. I agree. You see, we are quick to criminalize every situation without really paying attention to the details. It is true that most of these people who are even changing their date of birth may not necessarily doing it consciously or doing it because they want to cheat the system. I have a personal problem. When I was going to school, I've always known that my date of birth is 1st February. Then I entered school, do the ingest, and I saw this book, the right date of birth and blah, blah, blah. I'm a Sunday boy, I'm a crazy. Then I go to check from that book. the Sunday is 2nd February. So I thought, then my parents told me the wrong thing. If Sunday
Well,
is
I also had that problem before, but that's different.
So as we speak today, if you check through all my documentation, it is 2nd February. Meanwhile, my real date of birth is 1st February. You understand? So if later I decide to go and sign affidavit and have it amended to get.
So have you checked? If you haven't, we have a system we can easily check which year.
Oh, that is fine.
Ironically, we share birthday if it's 2nd February.
Yes,
but you see. Then again, let's face facts. I mean, 26,000, and if 13,000 belong to the teaching fraternity, and they're saying it's changing dates and all.
It's just
I mean, Fred was trying to rationalize it, but I'm thinking that look, a day when he changed a day, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
What about years? You change it from 2 years to...
Roland, the reality is that...
reduce it to 3 years.
Honorable Roland, stayed in Accra.
Roland,
if you ever stayed in the village out there...
Roland,
you know that you can be born and not know.
They will tell you the day that man died. They will use some things to calculate your date of birth.
Let's say in the last 20 years.
Last 20 years.
A while ago, I used to work for a subsidiary of a huge company, a big company
in
Ghana. But you see, when you go into certain departments, you tend to see certain people, and you ask, why is this guy still here?
And they tell you that he's got five more
years to go. And sometimes you look at their children. You look at where their children are and the ages of their children, and you compare and you say, wow, this guy might have been some genius to have given birth this early. You see, it's a reality of the case.
No, you decided not to give birth early.
Oh no, but I mean, come on, Roland. But I think that it's a good thing that we are doing, and we should all support this initiative. If we are able to control or get the right size of a wage bill, I think that our public finances will also be managed more efficiently. This issue of changes in dates and all that, I think we should find a way to deal with them.
Let's see how that goes.
We have to move on.
Now, the subject of Ibrahim Mahama has come up again, and it's about now SSNIT saying that he has to come and settle his arrears. And they run into, I believe, almost 1 million Ghana cedis. Ibrahim Mahama, he's come up again.
Roland,
yes, sir.
In principle, I have a difficulty discussing private businesses and people's private business on radio.
Or TV.
On TV. Unfortunately, for the past few weeks, we are compelled to be discussing a private business, what it does with government, state institutions, and I don't think it's something that we need to encourage. Because when we do that, especially when you invite politicians on a set, and then you put the standards across, before one says Jack, it becomes normal politicking. So the substance of the issue is lost on everybody. Because then I'll see Ibrahim as my former leader's brother. And so by extension, an NDC member. And so I must come across as I'm defending him. The Honorable now see Ibrahim as an NPP member, former President Mahama's brother, and so he too must stoke the fires. So the real issue then disappears. So I have a difficulty. It is not for nothing that we have created all these institutions. We believe that people can choose to do the right things or the wrong things in society. If they do, state institutions must call them to order. Where they have to punish them, they punish them. Where they have to remind them, they remind them. And then we get things done. This whole thing, now we are talking about the SSNIT contribution. I am aware, and I'm sure Roland, you are aware, Honorable has worked in several capacities, aware that there are several institutions in this country. People are working. In some cases, they are not even paying at all. You know what they do? They are salaried because they don't want to pay much to SSNIT and your payee and staff. They will peg your salary, oftentimes they're just a minimum wage.
That's the basic.
Basic. That's what they will peg your salary at. That's what they will declare. Then they will give you inflated allowances. Because those will not be taxed. In the past.
Those are taxed. But then you are not compelled to pay
SSNIT and contributions on them. Okay, fine. So you are not compelled to pay SSNIT and the rest on them. So companies use this type of foreign companies, trust me, move in there. I've worked in an institution, I was auditing most of this company, and I know what I'm talking about. I've audited them. You go around, the things you see in the booth, they don't pay. They are able to write to SSNIT. They go and say that they negotiate with SSNIT. They agree on a time frame for them to do the payment. This thing happens almost every now and then. And so if a company now is in default in a similar situation, and then because the director of the company is related to one politician, that might become a public discussion, I have a difficulty. My understanding is that as we speak today, Ibrahim's company has paid whatever arrears they owe SSNIT. That's the statement they issued. The company issued, I cited the statement they issued, that they have paid whatever they owe them every month that is in arrears. Because earlier they had entered some agreement, they defaulted for 2 days. And just for defaulting for 2 days, SSNIT wrote to them saying, listen, we can no longer continue the agreement we entered into. Come and pay all your money, we are going to court. Now they have paid, then they took them to court. They went to court and said, okay, we have paid the money. They said, yes, you have paid. To the extent that you defaulted for those 2 days, you still have to go to the legal process. I said, fine. So the system is still running. So I don't know what is it that we must discuss. It's trending all over the place. I understand. I am not faulting you for putting that for discussion, but I think that sometimes we should allow state institutions to work. We should allow private businesses when they go through difficulties. Every business, honorable, you run business, you know these things. All of us, we do one thing or the other. We know the things that we all go through with our businesses. You plan. Sometimes it's not as if you don't really want to pay these things. Difficulties. I remember 2-3 years ago when we were having this serious energy crisis. Talk to several businesses. Talk to them. Even salaries, they have to pay maybe a week into the following month. You know,
I'm even paying into the middle of the month.
In the middle of the month before they even go to pay salaries.
I've experienced it several times.
I'm telling you, before they go and pay this, they go and pay this. People really
because companies were in dire straits.
They were in dire straits.
No, they had to look at other liabilities before they look at some others. Some will pay managers later. The management staff later and pay some. I mean,
you know, all manner of arrangements were entered and they were real manner of things. So I just want to play with all of us.
Even MPs, they had difficulties. That time you were not in the house at the time, so sometimes you were not. No.
So
I think it's just normal fine. I'm thinking that way too, and but that brings us to sharp focus. If a company defaults and it doesn't become news, but they tend to have these arrangements by which they try to restructure whatever it is that they have to pay for a certain, based on what their liabilities are. Why is it that, let's say, for EMP becomes news? Is it because it's related to the former president?
I am thinking that for ENP, I have really been surprised at the extent of revelations we've gotten in the last couple of weeks. I'm saying this because when it ran, I presume that EMP is a limited liability company. That's right. And for what I know, EMP should be filing its returns and everything.
Or monthly.
So it is when you run,
should be paid.
SSNIT should be paid monthly, but it's annual return, it's financial statements. Who are the officers of the company with the company with the registrar generals? I mean, if you go to a place like the UK, you can sit behind your computer and buy annual returns of other companies. I mean, by the click of a button. So I can sit in my office.
Public.
It is public information. I mean, how much EMP owes SSNIT, how much it owes customs, if any. I mean, it should be very public. When you say private is probably what I do with my wife within the confines of our bedroom. And for a public figure like me, even my living room, it's a public place. So probably I only have that limited. That's
even that if it's exposed,
even there, even there. I mean, if you're not careful and you leave the windows open, I mean,
it becomes public. Yeah.
So it's running EMP. It is not a private business. It's a public business, and especially with a company that takes up a lot of public contracts. I think that the public should be interested in where EMP is, or how EMP is running. Because even if EMP is not satisfying some of its statutory obligations, it's not for nothing that if you bid for a government contract, you are asked to bring your tax clearance certificate. It is nothing. It's not for nothing that you are asked to bring your SSNIT clearance certificate. It's to ensure that you are a good citizen and that you are doing the right the right things under the law. So when you're given the opportunity to do that public contract, you also satisfy your obligations under the law. In this instance, I would have also preferred, and EMP is not the only company to owe SSNIT or default on its obligations to SSNIT. I'm sure that there are so many other businesses. I mean, in that sort of situation. But SSNIT or GRA or all the statutory bodies have ways to get out or help companies come out of some of these situations. In this instance, I personally, I mean, from where I'm coming from, I would have preferred that whatever agreement was reached between EMP and SSNIT was actually carried out. In this instance, you're owing so much. You come to the table and you negotiate. And per what I'm reading, the first payment that was due from EMP, EMP is in default.
2 days.
I think you are in default. Whether it's for 1 hour, whether it's for 2 days, whether it's for 30 days, you are in default. It means that you have not even respected the terms of the agreement that EMP came with SSNIT. And is it so because EMP thinks that because of 1 or 2 issues, because of their other relations, they can always get away with? And this is not the first instance. Let's go back to the issue with customs. I mean, which private entity will accept a third, a fourth, a fifth, up to a 24th, or whether it's 24th or 44th check from somebody who is still not meeting its side of the bargain? That checks up to 24. Is it because we are related to somebody that we think that we are untouchable? These are questions that need to be interrogated. You see? I mean, my question is, this is multimedia. If you have a client who has to pay monies to multimedia, and the client defaults, gives you a check, and it bounces for the first time, for the second time, for the third time, up to 24th. I mean,
but that's not what I think. I think that the checks were given maybe just at the same time.
At the same time?
There were checks that were supposed to clear as and when they mature. So it's not as if they gave one, it bounced, they took another one, it bounced.
And for the duration, for the duration of the time, what did customs do about it? Do we have to wait until power changes hands before some of this information? I think that much as we want to hold EMP responsible, I think there are officers within these institutions who also have answers to have some explanation. I mean, we can't continue like this. I'm hoping that, look, EMP will sit with SSNIT and get this issue resolved one way or the other. But officers within SSNIT, officers within customs or GRA should be actually held responsible for some of this, because I think that a citizen like myself, I mean, I can't go into this negotiations with SSNIT.
Well, let me ask you. Some time ago, we had, is it Mr. Agude?
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. For example, he was taken to, I think, was he jailed?
I think he was jailed.
He was jailed 8 years, I think.
Yes, he was jailed. Okay. Agude was jailed.
Okay. Is he in jail?
No, I think he had some health issues,
so he
was pardoned along the way, but he was actually jailed.
But there was a sentence that was passed.
He was jailed.
At the end of the day, do some of these things gain the prominence they are because, one, they are political figures or affiliated to the political elite, etc.?
I think that it does, because look, when you mention EMP is synonymous to Ibrahim Mahama. We know it. And so once Ibrahim Mahama, it becomes an issue. Agude's case is a very good example. This is somebody who had run for president.
Go-Crest Security.
Somebody who had run for president. And because he's run for president, you expect a bit more from him. And so Agude shouldn't have even waited until the law caught up with him. I'm sure that if he walked to SSNIT to say, look, these are the situation or the challenges facing my company, or this is what I'm going through. SSNIT always has ways to understand something. Because look, it's also in the interest of SSNIT. It's also in the interest of GRA to ensure that we have businesses, we have good corporate citizens who are meeting the obligations. The only way that they can also, gather whatever revenue and meet their targets as well. Remember, they also have targets When we do our budget, we give them targets to meet. And if we don't have these corporate citizens, there's no way they are going to get there. It is in their interest to ensure that some of these things are met. They will always meet you halfway to discuss some of these issues. So we don't even have to wait to get to some of these extents. I still pray and hope that some of these issues are resolved, not just because it's Ibrahim Mahama, but the other companies going through similar issues. And I'm sure that the SSNIT has a tall list of people probably going through the legal process because of this default. And I think that the law should apply equally to every citizen of Ghana, not because somebody is the president's brother or somebody ran for president or somebody works for multimedia. Under the law, we should all be equal citizens.
But I think that the bottom line, where we are now, is that they've paid their money, including the penalties and everything that they owe SSNIT. So if they've done that and SSNIT still want to pursue the issue in court, that's a prerogative. But for me, the most important thing that you want your money, the money has been paid to you. The other issue can be looked at later. But it's also a wake-up call to SSNIT that they need to engage more with some of these companies. They should be interested in the business that they run as well. They should not just wait for the man to end for them to bring their money to them. They should be interested. Find out. Send your men to go and find out. How is business doing? What are the difficulties? What could be the reason why you cannot pay the money at the end of the month? Is there any advice you can organize for them? Is there anything you can do to assist them so they can pay their money? I think that that's institutions and all of us have a responsibility in helping grow the business. Like Honorable rightly said, if these businesses are not there, how do you make your money? So the business must exist. The business must be doing well before you can make your money. This whole issue about the SEPs, the money, the vehicles they collect themselves, and all the people, you hear people talk as though it has never happened before. If you go to SEPs, they have bonded warehouses. It's not for nothing that they have those houses. They know there's not everybody who can bring goods in that can pay immediately. So those arrangements have always been there that when you bring your goods and you cannot pay, they take their goods and keep them in a bonded warehouse. As and when, for instance, there are goods that you have to sell, you are going to sell, you go with an officer, they open the door for you, you go and sell the things, part of the things, you make their money, payments to them, you take the rest of your profit. These things are always, done in business. So I would encourage all businesses to get close to the people, negotiate with them. You can go to bank and go and take a bank loan, agree on payment terms. If along the line there's a problem for which you cannot meet the agreement that you entered with the bank, you should be able to go back to the bank and say, listen, I agree I'm going to pay you. Restructure, renegotiate. We are a human institution. We are not robots. Things can change. You can plan and you can't always get the things the way you plan them. So when it happens, just go back, sit there and have those things.
Do you feel,
Roland, for
those of you who are in the NDC, do you feel that perhaps the system is out there to get Ibrahim Mahama just because of his relationship with the former president?
You see, of course, you can't come to that conclusion in a vacuum. You have to put pieces together. If a few weeks down the line, a very senior member of MEP comes on national television and threatens that he will make sure Ibrahim Mahama is jailed, and that if the state refused to jail Ibrahim Mahama, he was going to poison himself and kill himself. He said that very emphatically. Less than a week after, Yoko invites Ibrahim Mahama. The next moment, bring your passport. The next moment, we are investigating, we are doing this. We are human beings. Okay, so is it because this big man in court in MPP had threatened that I was going to make sure Ibrahim is jailed by all means? Is that the reason why Yoko is working? Is that the reason why SEPS is working? But these issues have always existed. They have always been working. Now, I think somewhere last week or 2 weeks ago, SEPS, for instance, came out with they came out with a statement explaining all they are dealing with Ibrahim's company, all the steps they've taken all the way through. So how come it is now that they are doing all the things that we are doing? They are taking him to court. We will not agree, come and pay the money. What is the motivation? So naturally, if you are an NDC member and you hear these things, as soon as if Jole Ibrahim, they mentioned, they are dropping other names. And behind the scenes...
Is he a member of the NDC?
I cannot say, I don't know, I can't tell. NDC to be a member means they must be part of a branch. You must be registered for a constituency. That's why they have your details. I don't know his constituency, I don't know his branch. So even though I'm a national officer, I'm unable to tell. Really, but for President John Dramani Mahama, I didn't know much about Ibrahim Mahama and the NDC. You understand? So I don't know. But the point is, it's a principle. If you hear those things happening, okay, we will jail him. If the state refuses to jail him, I'll poison myself, I'll kill myself. I'm going to make sure they jail him. Then the next day, the state is acting. State institutions are acting. You sit back and say, what is happening here? Are they pursuing him? Is it persecution because somebody has said he wants to do it? Or truly the man is at fault? And at all material times, they also try to explain. Now, if Ibrahim Mahama had not been President Mahama's brother, all the things we are hearing today, all the things that are coming to our knowledge today, you and I wouldn't have known about it. There are people who served in NPP under President Kufuor who did their own private businesses. Some of the things some of us got to know. You know, in politics sometimes, because of your relationship with people, you are able to fast track a few things. If I come to this place, Roland, you work here, and I'm coming to look for something here and I know you personally, I can pick a phone and call. Even before I walk to this, like I call you, Roland, I'm looking for this and within your setup. Can you arrange it for me? Somebody else who is coming here who doesn't know anybody may have to come and queue. We are human beings, happen every human institution. But to say that
Africa will lack connection.
Is it connection really?
What you're saying is connection.
Is it connection?
If you're supposed
really?
to come and queue.
You understand? For me, let me just land honorable. I have maintained, let us respect state institutions. Let us encourage them to work. You know, nobody must interfere with their work. They must also show that they are professionals. They are working the interests of the state. That zombie attitude, where very prominent members of the society, heading state institutions, working in state institutions, allow themselves to become football to be played around by so-called powerful people, either in NDC or NPP or whichever political party is in power, it's unacceptable.
Roland, you see, in this, there are always two sides to it. And when the snake dies, then you get to know its real or actual length. And then there's also another thing, which is kuku kuku no jaya. The kike will also die. I did make a point earlier that which citizen of Ghana will have the opportunity to, like Fred wanted to explain, and give 24 checks, post-dated checks to customs. I mean, I have had so many instances of families in my constituency who probably have been blessed with a member of the family in Germany who sends maybe a base bus 207 to the family to be used as some sort of transport enterprise. If they're unable to raise the custom duty on the vehicle, what happens to it? It is seized and sold to someone. But it's happened so many times. If this family in La Paz or yes, so if they also
on your tax obligation.
If I'm building a point, if they also had the opportunity, wouldn't they have taken it?
Okay.
Suppose they dated checks, gotten their vehicle out, or use other alternative means to raise that sort of money to pay the duty.
They refuse to negotiate.
They refuse to. You see where this
advantage
goes?
of that privilege.
But because, like Fred said, if he knew you somewhere, he could give you a phone call and say, oh, this is what I'm looking for, or this is the situation. So you also probably bend backwards to meet him some halfway.
Now your party is in private, I believe that who that pick a phone and call you.
That is a dangerous thing, and that is where our nation is going. Where somebody wants a driving license, wants a passport, you'll be surprised and amazed at the number of people I get working to passports. And it shouldn't be. I mean, it shouldn't be like that. If you need a passport. Oh, Roland, that is not what I'm saying. But I'm not talking. I am not talking to my constituents. I'm talking to the nation.
Okay.
I am talking to.
It's a bad way.
I think that processes like this. Oh, you see where. You see, when somebody comes to my house, I want a passport.
It's a big worry for
me. If you get, oh.
They started threatening you people, so if you don't know it.
They are worrying you every day with passport.
Please, allow me to. Why are they looking for passport actually? Why are they looking for passport? Yeah. Because I'm not going to encourage anybody to actually. I mean,
but you're saying that we should use the proper channels.
Channels should work,
and not try to cut corners, because that's what we do. We feel that the official.
He thinks that you are an NP, so you can actually get him a passport in 2 days. This is what we have to work at to make sure that the system works. Elsewhere, elsewhere. You don't even have to go to a passport office. Online, you can do everything. Security, everything. You can get a passport without going. I mean,
even in Ghana embassy in UK, if you are looking for a passport, you don't need to travel to Ghana embassy. When you are in Scotland to go and say you are going to access a passport, you go online, fill the form, and the next moment they deliver it to your mail.
And if
so why can't you do
because that place in the UK they do it that way.
No.
You want to even renew your driver's license, you have to go and spend the whole day at DVLA, as if you don't have anything to do. So if there's somebody who can,
for the passport you spend
sometimes months. It doesn't make sense.
Very unnecessary.
The system,
so that is why they
and you have to go.
That's why they crave the indulge of the politicians.
That's why they are disturbing honorable every day in his house. And now he's getting worried
because
about it.
so you the politician make the systems work.
That's what we, if
and that's what
the politicians can do it on our own.
Why can't you?
Oh, we need the support of everybody.
If you decide to crack the whip and say, look, today. From next month, this is what it's going
Roland, Galamsey has been very topical in the last.
Yeah, we'll discuss it next.
With the help of the media, I'm sure we've gotten to a level where politicians alone couldn't have. But once the media decided to make it
the media
an issue,
a lot of things all the time. Nothing is done
that's
about
how it's
it.
done. So I mean, as partners, I'm sure we'll be able to do so much with it.
Yeah, as partners, let's also enjoy the goodies of the state together. You know.
Goodies of the state I don't know about. So let's Fred will probably have
can you repeat that? I mean, can you repeat that?
Fred will have to tell me about goodies of the state.
When you were, you just went off fast.
Can you repeat that?
9 mining officers interdicted over Galamsey fight, and we know that government has interdicted apparently 9 district mining officers of the Mineral Commission who were asked to proceed on an indefinite leave a week ago. 9 officers who supervise the activities in 9 Lands and Natural Resources Minister. He comes from your constituency.
Yeah.
I remember in the campaign who was Jean-Pierre who were negligent as they allowed illegal mining to continue in their respective.
I think that's
Jean is Jean-Pierre, and then Pierre is Peter.
Yeah, and he was
trying to, you know, because of this Ghanaians in Togo. But in reality, a lot of Ghanaians are in Togo.
Oh, it's not just Togo.
But where the mother comes from, where the mother comes from.
If I tell you my heritage,
the Ghana-Togo border. John.
Jean-Pierre.
Yes. Look, Roland, my grandfather. It's not unique to the Volta region. My father's father was a Burkinabe. My father's mother is Ghana. My mother is Ghana. It's not just unique to the Volta region.
You didn't tell your colleagues when we're campaigning.
Oh,
when
of course, everybody knows
about the register, you kept quiet about it.
Oh, I mean,
today I tell them that
it's so, but I mean,
the elections are over.
The elections are over.
I am not saying I am Burkinabe. I am a Ghanaian.
It's not a Ghanaian.
Oh, really?
According to the constitution, once you were born here before 5.
President Rollins was president of Ghana.
But his father is Scott. It's a Scott.
So
dual citizen, we have to check. It is what we are talking about. It's not a president.
No, that was a precedent. That was a precedent.
Now let's have a word or two on this, then we'll move on. Now these 9 officers, and I have to start with you. My good friend, Fred. Now at the end of the day, we went to meet these 9 officers. We're interdicting them, etc. Is that the right way to go?
Scapegoats? I don't know. But let me comment.
Because I remember.
Yeah, scapegoats. Let me comment the minister. I think the minister has done very well. I like his zeal and his commitment to eminence. I want to also commend you, the media. You've done a great job. You've been very, very supportive. I've heard people argue that if you had been that supportive in the past, maybe you would have solved the issue long before now. It does appear to some people that you didn't cooperate so much in the past. It is now you are cooperating.
Wow.
But be that it may, it's about Ghana. We need to fight and protect our environment. As for environment, if you defy the environment, it will come back to haunt you anyway. So we need to do it. But these 9 officers who have been interdicted, I'm not too sure what the exact offense is. What I read from the synopsis you gave me, the accusation is that they sat and look on while the people enter the place to do whatever that it is. Do you know how some of these people work? Go to the districts. They are simply not resource. Some of these officers, you go and talk to them, they'll tell you they need motorbikes to move from their office to the nearest forest to go and check anything. They don't have vehicles, they don't have anything. And so I wouldn't want a situation where we sacrifice people just because we want to fight something. Let us get to the bottom of it. If we can ascertain that yes, they compromise the system, and so we want to punish them, fine. Because all of you and I know that this Galamsey thing has nothing to do necessarily with just these 9 members. That politicians are involved, that chiefs are involved, security people are involved, very prominent people in society. The moving equipment that they're using, it's not the poor farmer and the village who buys them. It is a big businessman.
They actually doesn't have the money for
you understand? They don't have the money for it.
They can't even buy the tire of the excavator.
I don't think that we should sacrifice any civil servant.
Well, we've done that already.
Yes, we need to. I know TUC will pick it up. I have confidence in TUC to make sure that the rights of these workers are not violated.
And Roland, quickly on this story, I think that they are on interdiction. They have not been sacrificed. I read somewhere that one of the officers was actually
that's why if you want to say proceed on leave, it means come no more.
Oh no,
so
they have been interdicted, and the story even goes that they're still earning 60% of their salaries until there's investigations into whatever they are accused of having been done. I have read somewhere that by the time the minister and his entourage even got to one particular district, the officer there was actually drunk and he couldn't know his left and right. I mean,
he's one of them.
I mean, those if you're under-resourced, given that is under-resourced, what business?
They actually have no power stopping these excavators.
What can they do?
I am sure that even if they didn't have power, there is some sort of reports or whatever communication channel that they have to be doing to Accra. So they should actually be put in the situation. I expect that if I go to the Minerals Commission or whoever is in charge, I should see the report from this officer month in, month out, saying that this is what is happening in my district. Then I can hold the head of the Minerals Commission. But if this guy, I mean, within working hours, is drunk and cannot even walk, or I mean, know his left. I mean, what business has he in the district? We need to get him out and get somebody who's ready to do the work there. As simple as that. Let's move away from politicizing.
No,
I don't think so. They are not being sacked.
When we come back, we'll continue with the discussions. Again, still with me, Fred Agbenyo, NDC Deputy Director of Communications, and also Fuseni Issa. He's a Member of Parliament for Kankwe North. We'll be right back.
Kankwe.
Still with me, Fred Agbenyo is the NDC's Deputy Communications Director, and Fuseni Issa, he's a Member of Parliament here in Accra. That is at the Okankwe North constituency.
Ready?
First occupied by Elizabeth Saki. Where's she now?
Oh, she's a Deputy Regional Minister.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so she's still around.
Did she contest in the primaries?
No, she didn't.
She didn't.
Yeah.
Roland.
She's been MP for 3 times. So
It's okay.
yeah, she
Roland.
was there.
So
Sorry?
But you said it.
I
so
said-
it's
I
okay.
said-
It's okay. 3 times. Are you also
Oh
going
no,
for
I
it
didn't
3
say
times?
she's okay, but I was just giving a history to it. Yeah.
Okay.
She
Roland.
was there for
The way
3
you said
times,
it is
yeah.
as if we're here.
Oh no, I didn't say that. So
Roland, is
that's not what I meant.
Honorable Dr. Apiakobi,
Which paper is that?
dispatch.
The Daily Dispatch.
Why is that what you want us to discuss?
No, I'm only asking you if you know him. Honorable Member of
I
Parliament.
know him. though.
You know
I
him,
Yeah, I know.
According to the Daily
I
Dispatch,
heard he's been dating
this one is
seriously.
of interest. It didn't come to mind. Let me see what we can do about that. But before that, let's
That's a good way to smuggle to smuggle a story.
but let's have our final words on the Galamsey issue. Then we come to the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
What is the daily?
It says more chaos after.
I think that the
MMDCE
Galamsey
nomination.
is more topical, and we wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah,
discuss
I agree, but
Galamsey.
just
So
don't
why are we getting
Yeah,
off?
you
the Galamsey
so what the
Can you
minister
give us
is
the
doing is
headline?
right. Do you think he has the tacit public opinionated approval of everybody?
Whether or not he has a public opinionated approval, I think that the president has said that he, at this time, is president of Ghana and he's going to do what his conscience tells him is right. I know that we're facing some difficulties with people saying that they don't have alternative means of income and all that, but I keep thinking that, look, if somebody walked into the studio at this time with and puts a gun at our heads and says, look, because I'm hungry or because I don't have a source of income for myself and my family, so you bring out all the monies in your pocket, or I'm going to take all the monies, I think that it's not fair, and we can't continue like that. The president is committed. I'm sure the minister is getting all the support. Look, the president is going to Togo today. He's either gone or he's on his way to Togo today. because of this Galamsey issues.
Why? The Galamseys are Togolese?
Oh, no, we have actually polluted water bodies. And water bodies are not unique to Ghana. A couple of weeks ago, Dr. Frimpong Boateng was in Ivory Coast, and he was faced with the same issue. Since then, there have been some top government contacts between ourselves and the Ivorian government, and the president is going to follow up in the next couple of days or weeks on this issue. This Galamsey issue, it is not unique to us because water bodies do flow from one country into the other if we are not careful, and we are polluting our bits of the water bodies, and our neighbors are not doing that. I don't think it's fair on them. Given that Ghana Water is telling us that, look, if we continue at this pace, in 2020, we will have to be importing water. I mean, a country like Ghana, for these water bodies. At one time, we prided ourselves of having one of the biggest man-made lake. I mean, you should see the Akusumbu. You should see the white and black waters, the price and all that. People who come from those areas have witnessed how those water bodies have changed. And how I have a personal experience. In 1994, I did my national service in Techima. And there was a river called Tintinimu. And in 1994, you could walk to the river with a cup, fetch and drink
clean
it.
Water.
It was clean.
Now?
Do
you know whether it's still
it's
there?
even dried up. Tintinimu is dried up.
But that's climate change. You don't blame it on Galamsey.
No, but you see, from the effects of Galamsey, right from where the buoy is, how I mean, you know that it's contributed to some of those menace. And I think that, look, as a country, we have to be committed to this fight. And for us now, I think we also have the responsibility to bequeath to generations unborn of a very good environment. If generations before us had treated our environment like this, I'm sure we would have been facing more challenges than we are having now. I mean, can you imagine if today every water that you drink would have to be imported? I mean, it's something that the government is committed. The president has shown his commitment to it. The minister is on the job, and I believe that we will be able to come out of this menace. And remember, we keep making this point. Small-scale mining is not necessarily Galamsey. Galamsey is an illegal bit, and if small-scale mining will be controlled, done under conditions that will give us an opportunity to reclaim whatever land or whatever distraction that happens to the environment after mining, I think it's legal. It's something that could be continued. So if we do it in the right way, we should be able to get the benefits of small-scale mining. But if we continue in this illegal form, where people are digging virtually everywhere, and once this menace hits Accra, I don't know how we're going to. Can you imagine that you come in to work in the morning and somebody digging in your car park and prospecting for gold? I think that we have shown a commitment. We will continue this fight and make sure that this comes to the barest minimum.
2 minutes on this, then we look at this. Don't waste too much as well. We can look at this.
I hope it's not deliberate. Anyway, I thought that our forefathers,
and this part is on this.
Our forefathers used better approach in handling some of this issue than we are doing today. It's part of the fact that we think we are more educated, we are more knowledgeable, but they use better approach. There's a place they will call the evil forest. Don't enter the evil forest. So nobody goes there to cut a tree. Nobody goes there to prospect for gold or any minerals. And so the vegetation is there. In their days, they will not allow you to go and do any farming close to the river bank. They will not allow you to go and cut trees, lumbering near the river bodies. And so the river, they have the canopy and the shade to continue to flow. The environment was good. You can just go in there, like I said, pick a cup and fetch and drink. Today, the things have changed. Everything has changed. The environments in which we live today are simply not the best. And all of us are not happy with what you are saying today. Now, I am saying that you can't solve these problems without adequate research. Find out exactly what the cause is. I am not too sure if the persons who are doing this Galamsey work are doing it only because they think they don't have any work to do. So the argument that, because they don't have an alternative, whether they are doing it. For me, I think that if we send people, some social researchers there, to engage these people, to find out what the cause of the issue is, we'll be able to come out with a better solution to the problem. Who would like to die just like that? Every now and then, I'm told just somewhere last week, a 21-year-old boy or so was buried in one of these Galamsey pits. Every now and then, they go underground, 5 of them, 7 of them, 10 of them, they just die. Look at them when they come out, the way they look. You think that they really love that environment? Is it because they don't have any other work to do when they do those things? We need to find out. we need to do some detailed research. Like I said, I'll continue to commend the minister, I'll continue to commend the president. And I am very careful not to politicize some of these issues. Otherwise, I was going to give a voice to you where the president, prior to the elections, went to one of these Galamsey communities telling them, oh, I've heard the NDC members are saying that when I come to stop Galamsey. As for me, I'm looking for a job for the young people. I'm not going to sack you. I'm going to regularize your activities and allow you to work. And you see what they are doing beautifully now? They are trying to put the KGR there. Oh, small scale mining is good. Galamsey may not be bad. Go and find out those who are destroying the water bodies. It is not necessarily the Galamseyers who are destroying the water body. It is these same so-called small scale miners. They are mining the rivers. They are mining and washing their things in the river and destroying the water bodies. The Galamseyers, often they are the young boys who don't have any machinery. They use their own small local tools.
So you're saying that it's the small-scale miners who are doing the activities illegally?
They are doing activities illegally. Nobody is checking the activities.
And you see, these are licensed people.
Yeah, they are licensed
They
people.
have the license.
They have the license.
They have
But they were
license to their
supposed to have,
under certain
and they're taking
conditions.
that concession
That's
under
right.
certain conditions.
Under certain
And they are not
conditions.
doing
They are
it.
So
not
if
doing
they are
it.
enforced,
So let's go and stop them.
So the laws are
that's
not
always
being
a problem.
so what has been
The
done
laws-
now? No new licenses are being issued for
Well,
small
that's
scale
the-
mining.
You see,
Yeah.
and the officers in the districts who are supposed to be checking and reporting on some of these activities are like the 9 who are on the
All right, it's
interdiction.
okay.
That is why they have to be
Please,
interdicted.
one word, and then we'll go to this one. Let's do this one in 5 minutes.
Well,
I'm not too sure
I pray we are able to sustain it. It's a sustenance that for me I'm so concerned about.
I think that we have shown
because
the
gradually the media, very soon the media will stop talking about it.
Oh,
Once the media stops
think
talking
that we
about
have.
it, I don't know how many times the minister can carry plenty V8s to the place with a police siren car. Is
that what happens?
Maybe the minister has to move by some other workers when they get to the
Now,
place. They can't do that
plenty
every
we're going
day.
to put
Oh,
the
please.
Daily Dispatch on the
please,
page.
right.
And if you look at the Dispatch, it has a story, more chaos after MMDCE nomination, activists poisoned MP beaten. That's MP for Akrima Kwawoma Apia Kubi. I think I know his face very well.
Activist poison.
Well,
So he's dead?
he said one of the main opponents to the DC nominee of Ayen Swano in the Eastern region has allegedly died of food poisoning, according to family sources. The deceased press conference in protest against the DC nominee over the weekend. But according to family sources, the deceased complained of sudden stomach ache and vomited different colors of fluids and eventually passed away after he'd been rushed to the hospital. But I think
postmortem has been done.
no, I think our main issue here is about there seemed to be some rancor following the nomination of 212 people, and this was announced by the president. And we thought there were just 1 or 2 or 6 other areas, but apparently, at least it's been a bit widespread than we think.
Roland, in this process, it's not the first time.
I don't know where the deputy minister.
No.
No, I am not.
Your conscience is very large,
I am
and
not.
you did a very good job.
I-
Let me be part of the deputy minister.
You are
Fred
finding
is-
trouble-
Fred is
you are
being
finding-
very-
You are finding trouble for him. Uh-huh.
the president has
No,
a
your
four-
conscience
No,
must
we
rise
have
up.
a 4-year term,
Your
and
conscience
we,
must
we've
rise up.
decided that we're starting with this thing.
Your
That doesn't
conscience
mean
must
that
rise up.
I don't think so. I don't think it's necessary. There are other roles that we can play. I think that
They are not
we're playing-
respecting
we're
your
playing
MP.
roles that-
Your
oh,
MP
no,
did a
it's
great
not
job.
like that.
So-
It's not like that. Frank is just trying to break my line of thinking. Anyway, the issue on this MMDCE is and the list. As a country, we've gone through this many times, and there's not been an occasion where it's not been met with some sort of. I mean, within a district, you have 4, 5, 6 people contesting or going through this approval process. It is not a contest like an election, but it's a process where one will have to be chosen from a field of sometimes even up to 19. And within the process, I mean, you have supporters, people, and not everybody is going to
Be
satisfied. I mean,
So it's okay.
certainly,
It's okay that they are
I'm not saying
dissatisfied.
it's okay, but we have to also respect that the president has made a decision, and this decision is going to be thrown back to the people. They also still have an opportunity through their assemblies to either confirm or otherwise, or some of these nominations. I'll urge that people are calm. I'll urge that people allow the process to finish, and when the process is done, then if they have any grievances, they can come out and voice some of these things out. I will rather disagree with you that it's on a widespread. I think it's pretty much protracted, and most of the districts have accepted whoever was nominated for them. They're going through the process. In the next couple of weeks, by the time this whole process is finished, I am sure that I will have the full complement of MMDCEs in office to allow the government to prosecute its agenda. I think this is just one of the places where we are facing some of this. Because look, within the process, you see, being an MP, and especially in places like that, I am fortunate to be an
Because, for example, an MP you said to have been supporting, is alleged to have been supporting Dr. Apia Kusi. He's a member of parliament for Achumankwa. He was beaten at a funeral just on Saturday. Beaten power. You know him.
I know him. I know him.
Call him and ask. If you
I sit quite close to him in parliament. But
where you are,
I am also not too sure about what is being reported.
But the man has been beaten. He's been reported
by which paper?
The Daily Dispatch. Are you disputing the
I am not. I am. I just asked a question.
Roland.
Thank you. You just ended with the conversation.
Roland, I commiserate with the family.
My word.
With the family of
My word. That's very diabolic, Fred.
The family of the Ortega.
Oh, no.
An NDC Director of Communications commiserating with an MPP activist.
Not the activist.
It doesn't happen often.
The family.
The family.
The gentleman is dead.
Oh, please. No, let me make a point before I continue.
Can I continue?
No. The paper says he was poisoned. I am not sure that the paper went on to say allegedly. Let's put that out.
According to family sources.
I've read other accounts, and the family is very worried. If their son, breadwinner of their family,
my word,
will die just like that through food poisoning because he supports somebody else.
Because
within
why are you trying to link the
political setup, the family is worried.
How is the two linked?
Honorable member of parliament beaten to pulp, disgraced and humiliated at the funeral.
He was not beaten to pulp.
He was. I know him very well.
Oh, you do?
I know him very well. So when I heard the incident, I placed a call.
And he spoke to you?
I placed a call, nobody picked.
And he told you that he's been beaten to pulp. There was some embedded hospital.
Somebody
interesting fact. Do you think this factual?
If the son,
Roland, you really think this factual?
Can I finish? I know if the son or the wife, somebody picked the call. It's like, he can't talk.
Oh, please.
It's not the man that
are you serious?
Roland, please.
The man was beaten. The man was beaten.
Fred, can you give us the man's phone number right now?
No, I'll give it to you when we finish. You see, Roland.
Can you call him now?
Yeah, the time. Okay,
Fred, can you call him?
Your phone is
when I go.
I'm sure your phone is not.
It's in the car. Roland.
Oh, Fred, please. Come on.
But on a more serious note, we've had some protestations.
Yeah. No, they're not just protestation.
I think it was expected.
No, I'm coming. We have moved beyond protestation. Now people are dying through food poisoning.
No, please.
Now members of parliament are being beaten.
One, it's not widespread.
Offices are being burned down. Properties of the parties are being burned down. I am worried.
Really?
I am worried. What is happening just because of appointments? NDC, we have suffered from this so invisible, whatever forces. Now you are beating your own people. Now you are destroying your own property. Now you are poisoning your own people. Why?
Fred, be factual.
No, are you not worried, Honorable?
No, I can link.
But for all the work you did for that constituency to win power for the party, they've appointed 110 deputies.
Don't go that time.
They didn't add you to it. They are worried.
They are not worried.
I will not be surprised by the weekend. Your constituents will rise up and say that we will not accept it. I will not be surprised.
Stop
and
this.
Honorable Dr. Piakusi, I know you are still at the hospital.
You know.
I'm sure.
You know for a fact.
Please, according to the paper.
You know for a fact.
I didn't discharge.
Is that he was assaulted at a funeral?
Assaulted.
Heckled.
Assaulted, heckled.
Pulled down.
They say they gave him punches on the face.
Punches on the face.
On the floor. According to how the youth came from nowhere to the family.
Punches on the face.
The crime of the MP allegedly
this?
is that some persons accuse him of working against the nomination of Prince Kakari, who also showed interest in the executive DC position.
Oh no.
And the
The
matter
man
is
received punches. What was he a boss? He received punches in the face.
I'm not sure Freddie's even read a story from.
No, I did. I told you I read the story
and you
over
spoke
there.
to the family.
No, I called them. And then they said the man couldn't even speak on phone.
Fred, please.
It was an intensive care unit. The man was.
Where?
No, but you see, this issue, I don't think that we should belittle it. We should belittle it. It's a very serious issue.
No.
It's a very serious. This is a member of parliament.
Were expected.
This is a member of parliament.
They were expected, but I mean not.
Beating to pop, the man could not even speak on his phone.
Fred, you will not speak on this issue again.
And you know the certain. Look at that other gentleman. They poisoned him. The man is dead. He has left their wife and children.
Now, you are a member of.
Honorable should be worried.
You are a member of the party.
Are you not worried? Honorable.
You are a member of the party.
Ask the question.
In order for us to bring some conclusion or finality to the subject, how do you think that perhaps the president needs to detail a team to calm nerves and even involve the party in this at the various.
They should make honorable deputy minister. That's the solution.
Because it looks like some members, some of them have been silent, some are not. Few of them are coming up and have come up and raised concern. So that you quell these sort of agitations and perhaps the disappointments they feel.
I think that we can learn from the experiences of the NDC in the last elections. Some of those issues led to how the elections went. I think that as a party, we have channels. So you not
sympathize with Honorable Kusi?
We have channels.
You not even say anything to him? No, but at least your colleague was beat. No, but his colleague was beat. You say something to him at least.
No, he says that he's
at least empathize with him.
I'm sure he'll call him after.
No, but empathize with him at least. He's watching.
No, I have not heard of this story. I'm just saying.
So you don't believe the man?
You can't verify the story.
I can't do so. I mean, it's a daily dispatch.
So you're saying it's not true?
I have not said so.
I can't even take it.
I'm just saying that
I'm very worried about this.
As a party, I think we have channels to address some of these grievances. What I'm very certain of is that the party was very much part of the process. At every stage of the selection process, the party was involved. But the final authority in doing this appointment also rests with the president. In fact, there was a committee. People were given opportunity to be interviewed for some of these positions and all that. But then again, I'll go back to everybody to urge calm. I'm sure that the party has channels to address some of these grievances, and if people
you think
use those channels, the party has channels.
To the point that the
I am
MP is
sure
heckled because of suspicion.
I am sure and certain. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm making a point. That's why I'm making a point. At every inch of the process, the party was very much. I'm not sure that this heckling or whatever is supposed to or whatever is supposed to have happened over the weekend was actually sanctioned by the party. The party has channels to address all these grievances, and people should use it.
He's a member of parliament for Kankwino. Thanks for joining me.
Right. Okay.
All right. The first name is Husseini?
Yeah.
Right.
Roland,
are you not worried? Husseini? Is he a Muslim?
Husseini is a twin, the younger of two twin.
Of which of the traditional areas?
It's traditional areas.
Like which tribe?
Just a twin. If Husseini actually is a corrupted form of the original name Hussein. It's only Husseini in West and East Africa. Everywhere else, the original name is Hussein.
Hussein.
Yeah.
Roland.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Are you not worried?
Over what?
I don't remember.
And Fred Agbenyo is the NDC's deputy director.
Typical of Fred, right?
When does your position end?
Next year, maybe December thereabout.
People are calling for early elections. Are you going to be in office next year?
You go for executive party elections?
Early elections means next year. When you're in opposition, you do
2 years before the general
2 years before the general election.
So would you run for any other, are you thinking of running for a top position again?
The thing is that I've been working for this party since 1993.
No, he's going forward. He's not asking going back.
I ask you straight question.
No.
Are you going to contest for?
I am a teacher. It's not every question that deserves yes or no answer.
Okay. So I understand that you know how to answer questions. I'm asking you. I understand. Now I know that you know how to answer questions. I'm asking you.
I will continue to serve my party.
In what capacity next time?
Well, let's see. Whichever capacity asked me to serve in ourselves.
We wish you all though.
So we have
But
to take a
we
break.
need a strong
party in opposition.
We'll have
We need a strong
more
party in
issues
opposition to keep us on our feet.
As well as please get interactive.
You might
Join
get
us
an
on
appointment.
TV, is our page on Facebook, and also our Twitter handle is Join Us on TV on Twitter. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
I'll tell you.